Welcome to Bailey'sBrackets.com, where the excitement of tournaments reaches new heights. Get ready to dive into the heart-pounding world of competitive gaming with our revolutionary tournament bracket system. With the power to track up to 128 players in a thrilling double elimination format, we're taking your gaming experience to the next level. But here's the best part. You don't have to be physically present to witness the action. Whether you're a participant in the tournament or an eager spectator, you can follow every intense moment from the comfort of your couch, beach chair, or even your daily commute. Thanks to our web-based software, all you need is your cell phone, tablet, or any internet-enabled device and a remote view code provided by the tournament director. Now, you might be thinking, all this must cost a fortune, but guess what? We're offering the subscription-based product at an unbelievable price of just $9.99 a year. Yes, you heard that right. For less than a fancy coffee a year, you can have access to the ultimate tournament experience. Getting started is a breeze. Simply click the Add to Cart button and breeze through the payment process with PayPal, and voila, you'll receive a unique user ID, password, and remote view code in an email similar to this. When you're finished with your PayPal transaction, you will be returned to Bailey'sBrackets.com website, where you can explore even more features and dive deeper into the world of competitive gaming. So what are you waiting for? Don't miss out on this thrilling opportunity. Click that Add to Cart button now and let the games begin. After that, keep watching this video to uncover all the amazing features and secrets this product has in store for you. Let's cover the features. Once you receive your user ID and password, click on the member login link on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Take notice of the very important pro tip. Use F11 to enter full screen mode. You'll see as we use the F11, which acts as a toggle, we go to full screen mode, and it gives us full access to our screen strictly for the software. F11 will toggle it back to the normal mode, and F11 goes back to full screen. We'll stay in this mode for the rest of the video. Enter your user ID and password here in the dialog box. Click Access. If you've entered your credentials correctly, you have the option to proceed or log back out. We'll proceed, and it will now cover the 6 options that you see from the main menu. The first option on the navigational bar is informational only. This is the view code. This is the code you will share with tournament participants and guests that want to follow the action remotely. They will simply visit Bailey'sBrackets.com and select the remote view option. Using the view code that you have provided, they can follow the action and will want to periodically refresh view to see the latest updates. This concludes the view code explanation and the remote view option for users and guests. The option that we use to set up new tournaments is the Add Delete Players option. This screen gives us many capabilities, and we're actually going to kind of work this in reverse order. This top frame up here will show all of the players that are currently pre-registered to be loaded into a bracket. This screen here shows us 2 pieces of information. It shows us people that are grayed out that have already been added up above, and then people that are yellow with a blank check box beside them are people that we can add to the existing tournament structure up here by selecting Add Players. Additionally, this list here can be managed by clicking on Manage List to delete players we know we're no longer going to be using. So here we'll delete Newcomer, Richard Brock, and Really Late. And when we go back to the Add Delete Players, we can see when this is sorted in alphabetical order: Newcomer, uh, Richard Brock, and the other one is no longer there. We can also enter players freeform up here. Jane Doe, and hit the enter key, or we can put John Doe and click up the sign up player button. Either way, you can click or just hit enter, whatever your preference is. When we're ready to load a bracket, let's just look here. We have two players. Let me delete this guy here. We have two players, Ben Angeles and Kathy. When we load the bracket, we're going to do just a straight load. When we go to run tournament, the first two players we'll see are Ben Angeles and Kathy. If we load the bracket with shuffle, the first two names we see over here this time are John Barrier and Allen. When we go to run Tourny, there's John Barrier and Allen. If we were to shuffle again, we do see two new players, Carl and Tony. And we come to run Tourny, Carl and Tony. One final thing to note. At the beginning of this example, we started with a bracket that was preloaded. Usually what happens is the same people show up for all of your tournaments, and so you kind of leave this as is and then tweak it based on your current attendance to minimize labor hours. But let's say you have two tournaments a week and they draw completely different crowds. If you need to initialize this area, simply click here on the Delete All button, confirm initialize, and then we start with a fresh slate, and there's no names grayed out here, so we'll just go check, 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 add selected players, and voila. These have all been grayed out to indicate they are already in here, and then when we have what we need, we do a load and then go to run tournament. That's all there is to it. That concludes this section of the Add Players tutorial. In this section, we're going to cover the run tournament option. Always remember the pro tip, use F11 to enter full screen mode. If you're not in full screen mode, then you can see the difference that going to full screen mode gives you in ample space to show the tournament brackets. This is particularly important when you go to 32 players and above. So reading the brackets are pretty straightforward. Players that are highlighted in bright yellow are in play and suggested by the software to play first. Matches that have a subdued highlighting are matches that are on deck and are suggested to be used when a playing venue becomes available. Everything else is in a normal color. You're not prohibited from playing these matches, but to get optimal tournament flow, it is suggested that you use the bright yellow highlighted brackets anytime you can. Obviously, there's going to be situations where this is not possible when you get a mismatch in bracket flow. In addition to these visual cues, if you have a player come in late and you have a buy available, you can go to that buy and click the edit function, change the name to always late. We all have that guy. Change the name, return to run tournament. And there he is, always late. Well, we left the S off of his first name. Not a problem. We go back, change it to always late, change it, return to run tournament, and now we've got it right. Once you're ready to rock and roll, you can start marking these winners. Whenever you have players against a bye, you don't have to manually collect those. You can use the advanced buys function, and you don't have to limit that to one time. For example, we have a bye here, and a bye here. So as we play these matches out here, we're going to have one more round of buys that need to be satisfied. So instead of manually collecting them, we can do the advanced buys option to process them all at once. The concurrent matches states how many playing venues you have for simultaneous matches. This can be changed in real time. For example, here we'll change it to 4. And you see we go from 2 sets of competitors highlighted in yellow to 4 sets. We can also go back to 2. Like I said, it's just dynamic, and you can use it anytime throughout the tournament. I think this covers all of the options for the run tournament bracket. And, just remember, transactions are always reversible. Just click the X by the player's name. And then remark. So like we marked Andy loser by mistake. We can reverse it and mark Andy as a winner. Something else to remember, if we need to reverse Ben and Andy, we don't have to click on the winner side. We can click on the loser side, and it's going to pull both players back to the match that they were erroneously marked from, and then we can make a correction. That concludes this portion of the run tourney option. In the run tourney option, there's 2 special situations. If you use a 64-person bracket, as you see here, you'll see 2 additional icons. And this example also underscores the reason to use the pro tip, use F11 to enter full screen mode. As we reach these larger bracket sizes, it's imperative that we get as much screen view space as possible. Still, that may not be enough and cause unnecessary scrolling on the vertical axis. To help alleviate some of this, we have 2 view panels in the 64 bracket that will allow us to see the top 32 players, and then a secondary view option to allow us to see the bottom 32 players. So again, when you're running in a tournament in 64 player mode, that's what these 2 additional icons do. They give you discrete viewing for the top half of the bracket and discrete viewing for the bottom half of the bracket. The second situation is a tournament bracket that's provisioned to handle anywhere between 65 and 128 players. As you can see, this is a very large bracket, and so for the tournament administrator, you may find it easier to select sections of the bracket as you're processing the matches. This is the top 4th view. This is the second 4th view, third 4th view, and the bottom view. Of course, occasionally you may want to see the whole bracket in one broad brush stroke to understand what's going on. But to process these larger brackets, you're going to find these micro views a great boon to doing your work. That concludes the run tourney and the 2 variants of the run tourney option. The next section on the screen is the utility area indicated by a gear icon. This is the area you go to change the color scheme of the software. There's currently 4 color schemes. We anticipate adding more in the future. Whichever color scheme you select, this is the color scheme users will see using the view code that you provide. In addition to the color settings, even though in a tournament we have all of our individual transactions reversible, if you run into a situation where you just need to start the tournament over or go back several matches, you can click these different checkpoints, and to restart a tournament, you just go to this first checkpoint here and click it, and you will now see that we have reset the tournament. In addition to that, if you only need to go back a handful of moves, you can just kind of spitball it Right there, I went to transaction 6, and I go back to run tournament. And you can jump around in an emergency if you need to do a lot more than a single rollback like this. This concludes the utility section description of the software. The next option we discuss is Need Help. Need Help allows you to either submit feedback about the league software or request help in real time for a problem. If you request help in real time for a problem, please include a cell or contact number or an email address, and we will try to respond within 5 minutes of receipt of the call. This concludes the Need Help option. Finally, the last option is the Logout. If you need to leave your computer during the tournament, you can log out for security measures. A logout will not affect tournament participants and spectators from using the remote view mode. Additionally, since the bracket software is always in a persistent state, a temporary loss of power or internet connectivity will in no way affect the integrity of the ongoing tournament bracket. Upon return to your computer or restoration of power or internet connectivity, simply return to the member login and resume the tournament. The only way a tournament can be wiped out is to return to the Add Delete Players menu option and selecting the Load Bracket with Shuffle or Load Bracket. This concludes the tutorial sections of this video.